Hey everybody out there, and today for you guys I want to discuss to you guys about the current format and just my thoughts on it and moving forward from this format. What decks coming out are really going to be able to challenge these current decks. So let's first off talk about this current format we're in. The current format has really felt like it's lasted a lot longer, even though we got a ban list not that long ago. The reason for that mainly is because if you look at what's been topping, it's been pretty much the same decks topping for over a year now, for the most part. And for that reason, people have felt like, some people that is, that the game has gotten a little bit stale. It's been the same thing over and over, topping for over a year. Oh my gosh, it's so boring. Well, you may tell you one funny thing. Give it 2 to 3 years when we're in a tier 0 format, and people are going to look back on this format and be like, that format was so good. It was so healthy. I miss Thunder Dragon Sky Striker dot format. Oh my gosh, it was so good. I promise you that happens all the time. Nostalgic glasses, my friends. But beside the point, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the current format and what decks are going to come out to challenge those current decks, the current format decks. And if we're really looking at this right now, like we've been seeing the same decks top over and over for the last year. Thunder Dragons, Sky Striker, Salamangreats. It's not been a full year yet, but they've dropped out a lot of the top running. You also see Orcus, which has been going on for almost a year. About the same length as Salamangreats. Yes, Salamangreats came out like, a month before, but, it's been almost a year. And so you're sitting here going like, well, it's been a lot of the same decks, even though we're in a new championship season. There's a lot of holdover from the last, championship, year. And what's coming out that's going to be topping those decks that are currently out? Nothing. Think about that. Think about that right now. A lot of the same decks that have been holdovers from last format. We've had 2 ban lists since this new championship season. If you don't know what season is, after Worlds you start a new season, which usually happens in August and September. We had a ban list in that time frame, and we had a second ban list, which hit some of those decks. But still, those decks being resilient still keep topping, no matter what. And that's what I'm trying to say here. They've been topping, consistently for almost a year, some of them. Some of them a full year, some of them about 2/3 of a year. And it just feels a little bit stale to some people because you just see the same tournament results over and over with just some variation in the numbers of what deck is topping at this event. However, I will say it's also a good time in the current format for rogue strategies to be topping. But as I look at the current format and I look at the future product coming out in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!, I say to myself, what is coming out that is going to change this current landscape of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because usually what happens when Konami hits certain decks, okay, this is what's happened in the past time and time again I've seen for most of Yu-Gi-Oh!'s history. You have the current decks come out, the 3 to 4 decks, right? They dominate for a while, correct? Right? All right, they dominate, they do good. And then, Konami hits them hard, taps them on the shoulder and says, hey, we're going to hit limit and maybe ban a card of yours for the time being, not kill you, but make you less strong. And, a new deck comes out, and it's more stronger than the past deck, and it pretty much rolls over all those other decks, and we just proceed to use that deck as the best deck. And then you have another deck come out that competes with it, and you have a yin-yang thing going with those new decks. You may have a triangle format where maybe one of the old decks tops into that mix, or a third deck joins the fray. And that's usually what always happens. But what we've had happen right now, what's going on currently, and it's very odd because I haven't seen this happen in some time for this amount of time, is you're seeing a situation where you have old decks that are still topping, that have been around for over a year, some of them, and you're looking at or almost a year, half a year, like I've said before, and I'm looking at the current stuff coming out and already out, and I'm like, I don't know if you're going to be strong enough to top. And the reason I say this is because I've heard what people have talked about as I've discussed Yu-Gi-Oh's future with people, and I've seen what the OCG is. And you look at these decks that are coming out of the current set we just got, and with Unchained, and you're looking at Ignisters and coming out in the next set in January, and I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at Dragon Maids, and I'm like, you guys, all of you guys have done okay in the OCG, but you haven't been dominant in the OCG at all. And from what I've heard from people playtesting them, they're like, they're not as good as you want them to be, kind of. Maybe if the format changes a little bit. And it's kind of like the format changes a little bit. It's been changed a lot recently with these two ban lists. Almost all the decks except Thunder Dragon have been having direct hits to them. Come on! And it makes me wonder, is there any deck that's going to come out right now that's going to make these other decks less competitive? Because, as I've said before, usually they get phased out because of power creep. In this case, they've been weakened. They're not the Sky Strikers of old. They're not, the Orcust of Mermail combo old. They're still Orcust there. They're still good, but, they're not Mermail combo dot thing. And, it's like, okay, right now they should be phasing out with newer decks, and it's not happening. People are like, oh, Marine sets are going to do it, and they do nothing. Oh, the Mirror dot deck that's really cool, that's, is going to do something. No, it didn't. Oh, I kept hearing when they were announced, oh, Dragon Maids are going to do it, and I've heard for months now that Dragon Maids are just not what it's cracked up to be. And then I've heard Ignisters are going to do it, and they're going to break these decks and make them useless. Well, that's yet to be seen, but from what we're seeing in the OCG, not happening at the moment. And it just makes me sit here and go, okay, what's it going to take? And it feels like a weird kind of quandary we've been in this past year, where if you think about how many dominant decks we've had come out this year, just this year, there's been 2. Salamangreats and Orcust. Those are the only 2 archetypes that legitly, I say, have taken a large percentage, quote unquote, of the top cut. Nothing else has been doing amazingly well. It may get a top here or there, get a regional invite here or there, do very good at your locals here or there, but nothing where it's on the level of Orcust or on the level of Salamangreat. Nothing like that. And even Salamangreats have fallen off, the map a little bit. So I'm sitting here going what is going to come out? And there's nothing I see coming out in 2019 that's going to top these current decks out there. Maybe the 6 Samurai Link, if Gateway gets put to 3, maybe. Hopeful thinking, wishful thinking. Don't think it's going to happen, but I think it'll be a good deck to compete. Scrap Dragon and Scraps, maybe, doubtful. But, it's nothing where it's a clear defined best new deck coming out. And I don't see anything in January at the moment that leads me to believe that Ignisters and some of these other new archetypes coming out are going to be the de facto dominant deck. And I'm like, okay, when's the next set coming out after that? Well, there's probably going to be a side set that comes out that may have a competitive archetype in it. And if that's not the case, then we got to wait till April, right? For a new deck. So either one of 2 things is going to happen. Either there's going to be a new powerful deck that just comes in and takes over, and we enter a very one-dimensional type of deck format, or a triangle format, or a yin and yang format. We're going to enter something else eventually, probably next year. But we're also going to have a situation right now where there's going to be a power vacuum, whatever next powerful deck comes out, because it seems like, and it's very strange, that Konami is kind of curbing power creep, if that's a thing. If that's a thing to even say, mind you. Because if you look at what they've done over the last year, they've created powerful decks. They've created powerful combos. Yes. But how many like I said, how many big powerful decks have come out? Not a lot. Not a lot at all. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I feel like, and I don't want to say power creep is not happening because it's always happening in the game, but it feels like Konami is making less broken archetypes. Could that be possible even? Like, it feels that way, kind of, doesn't it? Like, yeah, they still got broken archetypes they're making, broken cards they're always making. Yeah. We get that. But archetype-wise, if you think about all the archetypes that have come out this past year and how many of them have been legit meta contenders, there's not a lot. And that's what I'm trying to say here. Maybe Konami's taking a new strategy to things. Maybe. Could it be? I don't know. But it's good discussion, I feel like. And it's something that needs to be discussed about because we've noticed this a lot this past year. And yeah, there's been years where there's not a lot of powerful decks coming out in the past, but this year just feels like very underwhelming. And I don't know, I don't think Konami's running out of ideas or anything. It just feels like they're taking a step back from making powerful decks. I don't know. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. And that's what I'm trying to say is, like, what is going to be the next best deck? There's nothing that's stepping up to the plate right now that's going to, wipe away Thunder Dragons, Orcust, and, Sky Striker and Salamangreats and all the other stuff that's been around for forever. There's nothing stepping up to the plate currently. What is going to step up to the plate and be dominant next? There's nothing that shows us that's going to happen right now. Maybe it will as the format develops, but I don't see it. And there's nothing in the future that's making me feel any more certain about that. So those are just things I want to discuss. The future meta, the current meta, and how is the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Going to develop, as a meta thing going forward. Tell me your thoughts down below, guys. And until next time, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling. I just wanted to discuss about this because I thought it was a really interesting topic when I started thinking about it. And until next time, take care, everybody, and I'll see you guys next time. Good luck dueling to all of you.